What's going on, guys? It's Jev, and in the background here you'll see some of this gameplay. I just wanted to kind of talk about Blackout and what should and shouldn't be, you know, fixed, or at least my opinions on the whole thing. Obviously, at the moment, looking at this gameplay was from yesterday, so there has been an update since then, but surefire way that you could tell is by the starting number of players that are in the game at the moment. It's still currently at 77. They upped the amount of players at the moment to 88, which I think is kind of, that's okay. Heard some rumors that they were actually going to try to up the amount of players up to 115 potentially, but I'm not really sure how well that's going to go. I don't know if servers have gotten any more unstable since this change or whatever. I haven't played yet today, so. But in this gameplay right here, I ended up finding a ray gun at one point. It was like 2 or 3 kills, but the thing is a laser. Literally. Ended up finding a supply crate right here. Well, after a whole day of playing, I have 4 or 5 wins or some shit like that. I stopped playing after a while because I was getting like really fucking pissed off just at BRs in general. Although if I'm gonna play any BR, it'll probably be this one. It's just kind of like my safe space. Just feels the most familiar to me, although Blackout definitely feels a lot different from any other Call of Duty, along with like just Black Ops 4 in general. It does feel very different from other Call of Duties, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think this is a really good direction. So I just want to talk really quickly about the things that are good and bad. The good things in this game is, well, I mean, the servers aren't crashing constantly. There are some like crashing issues and stuff like that with the game session no longer being available, which is apparently fixed, but that doesn't mean that the server doesn't crash in any other kind of way or whatever, especially when they're testing out new things like upping the player count by 9 or 10 or whatever it was. Servers run good, the gunfights feel good, besides the big glaring issue, which is everybody's main complaint in armor. I'll get to that in a minute, but the gunfights feel good, the guns feel good, although some of the recoil might be a little overtuned. Get some Black Ops 1 vibes here and there sometimes with some of the weapons. It's only a couple of them. Obviously, there's a good amount of accurate weapons in the game that don't have much kick or recoil or whatever. For example, the KN and also the ICR, things like that. But I feel like those weapons are really meant to be a little bit more accurate anyway. But the recoil on some of the weapons is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, the menus could use a little bit of work, although over time, as I was playing them with these quick equip menus, as you can see right here with me equipping just these perks, I was kind of getting used to it. Like, I was getting more and more comfortable with it, but I can't guarantee that that is the best that it could ever feel, you know what I mean? I feel like they could definitely make some quicker improvements to it, maybe making it so the times to equip some of the thing are a little bit faster or something. There was also the issue where people were talking about the clunkiness where you were trying to pick up certain items and you have to hold square in order to pick things up instead of just pressing square. And Vonderhaar had responded to that directly and said that he doesn't want to make it so it's just tapping square because he doesn't want it to interfere with reloading. There's a lot of people that have a rebuttal to that, just basically saying like, well, other games allow me to do that. They have the reload button and the pickup button on the same button. What's the actual issue? It doesn't really seem like he really wants to budge on the whole idea of changing it from hold to tap, so it seems like we're going to be stuck with holding, which is really not that bad. Actually, with this update, I haven't felt it yet, but they've actually made it so it's an even shorter amount of time, so you have to only hold square for like the tiniest, maybe half a second. The issue with that whole holding thing, and because there's so many items on the ground that you could pick up, especially when bandages come in like little things of 3 like sitting around together, it feels clunky when you hold on to square repeatedly. You just hold it, awkward, hold it, awkward, hold it, awkward, instead of just tapping it all up, which is completely understandable, but you can kind of get used to it. And also PC, he's saying that you can just bind it to something else so you don't have to hold it. So that's somewhere where console ends up losing, and overall, I feel like more people are definitely excited for the PC version of the game as opposed to the console version. Honestly, this year, if they don't drop the ball, if the servers are really solid and they really seriously pay attention and update the PC version is just going to end up being the biggest thing. It just will be. All of the most popular streamers out there are that, and Call of Duty is virtually one of the only games out there, as a shooter anyway, or even competitive games, it's one of the few games out there that are still competitively played on console, and I don't really know how people feel about the whole switch going from console over to PC, as, you know, for the people that have been playing Call of Duty for the past few years. It's kind of bittersweet for us console players because we have been playing this game the entire time this way for years upon years upon years, and to switch over to PC, it does kind of suck. But I mean, honestly, all it takes is just getting used to PC, and you know, I just honestly don't want to end up giving up over 10 years plus of experience on Call of Duty, practicing day in and day out, investing a ridiculous amount of time into my controller, all to be laughed at by all the people that make fun of people that play on console, you know what I mean? Really unique issue that I didn't even think about up until this point. So I don't really know if Call of Duty for me is going to be on console or PC this year. I don't really know. I have no idea. Obviously, all the exclusive stuff is going to be dropping on PS4 first. I don't know if they'll be updating Blackout on PC and console differently or the same, or I'm not really sure how they're going to do it. I did hear that they were going to make adjustments to things separately, like weapons. For example, sniper rifles could be much stronger on PC than they are on console because you can be disgustingly accurate with it on PC. So it may require a nerf there, but it may be an overdone nerf on console. It's a very confusing thing and kind of difficult to tell what they're going to do or what they should do. Some weapons may need to be tuned here and there as far as recoil goes, maybe even damage and stuff like that. But also, speaking of damage, the main thing that most people are complaining about is armor. Now, armor in this game, I mean, there's a few different suggestions and ways that you could go about like dealing with this whole armor thing, but basically armor in this game, you end up finding level 1 and level 2 armor. I think you could even find level 3 armor on the ground if you're super lucky, but it's pretty rare in comparison. Level 1 armor has like some crazy number of like damage reduction on it just for the level 1 armor, and the thing is, level 1 armor isn't really the issue. I don't think a lot of people are complaining about level 1 armor so much. Level 2, it gets a little, people get incredibly tanky. You can put like 8, 9 bullets into people before they finally start fucking dying. And if you get tier 3, I mean, fucking forget about it. You can't even shoot them in the head. They're immune to headshot. And immune is actually kind of the wrong word. What I mean is, mow that guy down right here. The guy with the ray gun is actually right around this corner. I think I end up getting him right here. Sits inside the house. He tries running away. Ton of damage. He doesn't even have armor. Super weak, jump in the window, shoot his ass. Picked up this ray gun real quick, swapped it out. Ray gun's really cool. That's the first and only time that I ever got it and ended up winning the game using it. So a lot of people are suggesting, honestly, to get rid of the levels of armor and just leave armor level 1 and just name it armor level 1, no level 2, no level 3. Level 3 just seems absolutely ridiculous with the amount of damage reduction on top of the fact that you can't counter it by shooting them in the head like you can with level 1 and 2 armor. Armors level 1 and 2 don't protect against headshots, so that's, you know, the quote counter. Just be accurate, shoot them in the head instead of, you know, shooting them right in the body where they're protected. And I have seen a good amount of people complaining about how hard it is to be accurate. I don't know if that's just a combination of the recoil or the fact that most of the people that are talking about these things and having these complaints about aim assist and using a controller are mainly PC players, so they're just simply not used to it. So I feel like overall, armor level 1 should just stay how it is. Either weaken armor level 2 and 3, or just remove them completely. It just gets a little ridiculous. I feel like Call of Duty, this whole BR version anyway, Call of Duty, you don't usually get a fighting chance back whenever you're shot in the side or the back or somebody catches you out in the open like that. You have to choose whether or not you're gonna move from point to point, and you know that there's a risk every single time that you move from cover to cover. It's not like you can just instantly protect yourself. You have to find cover. So I think the armor is a good addition just because it does protect against these random ass bullshit deaths where you'll just feel like you just get melted out of nowhere and there's nothing you can do to fight back at all. But I think level 2 and 3, especially 3, is just way too good. It's way too strong. It ends up becoming a problem where if you don't have armor, you lose to people that have armor. That's why I'm just so heavy on the whole either get rid of it or just nerf it pretty close to level 1. The difference between level 1 and 2 in damage reduction should be no more than 5-10%. Like, it just shouldn't be that high. At least on the level 3, get rid of the headshot protection or something. It just feels like you're legit just fighting some ridiculous juggernaut. And it's not even like you're necessarily doing anything wrong. The other person just so happened to get luckier than you and they found a higher tier of armor. There's nothing skillful about that. You just kind of have to hope that you have better armor than the next guy. Or hope that if you don't have armor, and hope that that guy doesn't have armor. See, that guy right there had armor and actually managed to tank a shot from the ray gun. I'm not claiming that the ray gun should definitely one-shot people, but sometimes it's pretty surprising the amount of damage and bullets that you put into somebody when you expect them to die and they don't. That adds to the frustration, and that's the last thing you want, is people getting like super angry over their games because, you know, ultimately people just end up quitting because they're too angry and things aren't too consistent. As far as player count goes, I do agree they should add a couple more. I'm kind of actually cool with this 88 players or whatever it is at the moment. Although I haven't played it yet, 80 players at times did feel really slow. I'm not saying I want to be in constant action, but there are times where it feels very slow. So I think this guy's sitting here. Yeah, the dude was just sitting here with that and he just let me actually shoot him with the ray gun. There's just a skull in the top right, stands no chance. It took a while for me to find the last guy. The last guy was just creeping around. He was just creeping super hard. I was standing on top of the tallest rock just looking for his ass. And when I say shooting them feels like shooting a juggernaut, I'm not even exaggerating. If you played MW3, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And shit, forget about it if a good player has level 3 armor. They got a great shot. They're fucking near invulnerable, so they don't even have to like sit in their cover as tactically as they need to. They just straight up challenge you repeatedly, and if you go to challenge them back, you're at this huge disadvantage because this guy can take 8 bullets and you can take 3. Even if you have the advantage, you get the jump on them or whatever, it's just so difficult to even the playing fields at time to where it's annoying. I feel like armor definitely has a place in the game. It's not as strong as it actually is. The reduction should be reduced, at least in some way, shape, or form. Get rid of level 2, get rid of level 3, something. I think level 1 armor, again, is just completely fine where it is. If they want to nerf it a little bit, fine. Maybe if armor ends up being a little bit too weak, maybe increase the rate at which a level 1 armor would spawn or something. I don't know. There's a whole lot of things that are going to end up changing on this game from, you know, day 1 to day 7. And right here at the end, I noticed that the guy was right there underneath about. I was actually going to shoot him with the ray gun, but I kind of decided against it because I didn't really know how it worked with, you know, hitting surfaces and trying to shoot him underneath of the stairs and all that shit. So yeah, ray gun seems pretty good. The travel time on like the whole laser thing is kind of weird and difficult to get used to. It's not as strong as you would think it is, but it's pretty strong. So anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully some of these things will change throughout the time. Hopefully, you know, we'll see what's coming next for all the updates and all that shit. And yeah, it's FaZe Jev, guys. Later.